Welcome to another episode of Penis Around the World. This time it's the USA. In this show, I am presenting to you penile dimensions around the world according to scientific measurements. If you haven't seen the other episodes, I gathered them in a playlist which I will link at the end of the video. Now, when we look at the USA, nothing changes to what I have previously reported to you. 6 inches are not average. The average is smaller. And no, it has nothing to do with the white man bringing down the average. The common belief that men from African descent are humongous is nothing but a sexual stereotype that doesn't hold true when it comes to actual measurements. Check out my video about Nigerian men. Neither here the myth of the large penis could be verified. So where do the US data come from? They are based on the Condom Fit and Feel study, which was designed to compare condoms of standard size with custom-made sizes. So even if this is self-reported data, there was an incentive towards measuring correctly in order to obtain a condom fitted to individual dimensions. The fact that the measurements are comparable to similar samples indicates that the usual exaggerations commonly seen in self-reported data have been minimized. Overall, 1,661 men participated online. Instructions and measurement tools were sent to them, and they returned the measurements for receiving fitted condoms. For the whole cohort, average length of the erect penis was 5.6 inches and the average girth 4.8 inches. The median length was 5.5 inches and median girth 4.7 inches. As you might know, the median is a more robust measure of the average. If you are not familiar with the terms mean, median, and standard deviation, I advise you to watch the whole video because I will add an explanation at the end. The standard deviation for the whole cohort was 1 inch for length and 0.9 inches for girth. When it came to length, the smallest penis measured 1.6 inches erect, and this was one man. At the other end of the spectrum, one man out of 1,661 had a penis which was 10.2 inches in erect length. Since penile measurements are normally distributed, most men find themselves around the mean value. By the way, I will also explain the term normal distribution in the explanation at the end of the video. Ethnicity did not play a major role for the whole cohort. African Americans had somewhat larger dimensions, but unlike folk belief, mean erect penile length in men of African descent was 5.8 inches, whereas it was 5.6 inches in Caucasian males. Girth was 4.8 inches in both groups. The standard deviation in length was 1.3 inches in Afro-Americans and 1 inch in Caucasians. If you now think the Asians brought down the average, nope. Their numbers were 5.6 inches in length and 4.8 inches in girth. Another study was performed by Ansel Condoms during spring break. They measured the erections of 300 volunteers in a tent behind a nightclub. The setting has been criticized for possible selection bias, as it may be assumed that in this highly selected group of study subjects, only men with presumably large penises volunteered. Consequently, the numbers are somewhat higher, but still, 6 inches was not average. It was 5.9 inches or 5.877 inches to be precise, and the mean girth was 5 inches. From the comments I have received so far on my videos about penis size, I could see that being average obviously is a major problem to some of you. I am well aware of the sociologic fact that penis size symbolizes status among many men. However, nature had a reason to restrict penis size and narrow down the spectrum of diversity. Ultimately, the penis has a function for procreation and has to fit into its counterpart, the vagina that is. Large penises would run into problems here. It's like in that funny commercial on TV ages ago where the engineers had come up with a brilliant machine that could connect everything to anything. And the boss just blows it off the table by simply asking, "Great, but does it work in Europe?" So Americans and everybody else who's watching this, Happy New Year! Start the new year with a good deed and subscribe to UroChannel. In population-based studies, we commonly assume that physical features are distributed throughout the population in a certain pattern. Most values gather around the average value, but also extreme features exist. There is such a thing as micropenis and also gigantic monsters of a penis, which make wearing pants very uncomfortable sometimes. The standard deviation tells us how dispersed the data is in relation to the mean value. Within one standard deviation above and below the average, 68.3% of all data are gathered. Within 2 standard deviations above and below, you will find 95.4% of all values. The median is a kind of average, which is more robust to extreme values which would bring the average up or down. The median is the middle of the recorded values. Let's do an example. You have 3 values, 2, 4, and 15. For the average, you add them up and divide them by 3. The average is 21 divided by 3, which equals 7. For the median, you put your numbers in a consecutive order and pick the middle, which is 4. As you can see, the median compensates for extreme values in the measured data and is closer to the real picture. This is it for this episode of Penis Around the World. Stay curious. Maybe I am going to visit your country next time. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.